Article 370 was removed as far as the internal situation in Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. There has been a lot of developmental activities that has been taking place. Some of the hindrances which were there because of this Article 370 has been taken care of now, and we see a lot of positive development. I think that's a good step which was the need of the hour. The producers and directors and the story writers have been carrying out a lot of detailed research into the life of the armed forces, and of course in the movies there has to be some dramatization, that is well understood, but I think people are making effort to portray the armed forces in the correct light. At least for Sam Bahadur, I can say for sure that I think they went into a lot of, they took a lot of trouble to get into a lot of details about life of Sam Bahadur, who is one of the iconic figure of the armed forces. And they did a lot of research.
Hello and welcome. I'm Raisa from Enigmatic Horizon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thrilled to announce the presence of the most distinguished and respected awardee, Lieutenant General Rana Pratap Kalita, with us today. It's a great honor and pleasure to welcome you all, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, let's start by looking back on your tenure as the Eastern Command Chief. What are your most proud achievements?
I think among all the commands in Indian Army, Eastern Command, because of the diversity and the geography and the difficult terrain conditions that exist, I would say it's one of the most challenging command, because we are looking at northern borders against China, as also disturbed internal security situation within various states of Northeast. So during these last 2 years of my tenure, particularly 2022 and 23, I think the major achievement has been that we are able to maintain a stable line of actual control against China. There has been no escalation of violence. Certain differences which cropped up, we are able to address by adhering to the laid down rules and provisions. Apart from that, we are also able to maintain peace and stability in the hinterland. I think by proactive measures and in collaboration with the state government and the police, we are able to handle the Manipur situation post 3rd of May 2023 in a very, very effective manner. I think apart from that, other things what we were able to achieve was complete civil-military fusion in tackling various issues. We had given a lot of push towards infrastructure development and capacity building. I think these are the major achievements I would say during my last 2 years.
So the Eastern Command faces unique security challenges, including insurgencies and border disputes. How did you approach these challenges during your command?
See, one of the basic necessity is very, very thorough. What is important is very thorough understanding of the challenges that we face in Eastern Theatre. One of the major advantages which I had was, I think, since I belong to Assam, so I am quite familiar with the history and geography of the area, not only of Assam, of the entire Northeast. So that, helped me in understanding the complexities and the challenges. And then thereafter, we also, since we had served in Northeast earlier as well, so I used that experience as also my knowledge to evolve a sort of a proactive approach towards tackling various issues, whether it was related to the northern borders against the China, or the internal situation in various states which are impacted by the insurgency.
So talking about Northeast, do you think people have a wrong perception about joining the army? What are your thoughts about it?
I think the perception is not wrong, I would say. I think what is the problem is the lack of awareness about the opportunities that are offered by the armed forces as a career. In the present environment, there are a number of options for a young boy or a girl. However, during my tenure here, when I had gone around, visited various villages and the remote areas, I found that people are generally not aware of the opportunities that are given, offered by the armed forces. So we had undertaken a lot of drives during my service. We had sent teams to go and speak to various schools and colleges, and that's a sort of a awareness drive for the armed forces. Of course, there is a problem because most of the states of Northeast had been impacted by insurgency at some point of time, and the armed forces, Bar force, when they were called upon to maintain law and order, had operated against the civilian population. So that had created some sort of a distance, I would say, between the common population and the armed forces. That was again one of our major drive or initiative to remove that distance and get the civilian population closer to the armed forces,
Sure.
so that they have better understanding of the armed forces.
Certainly. So the Indian Army is undergoing modernization and transformation. What are your views on the importance of these initiatives and how can they be further strengthened?
You see, the world around us is changing at a very, very fast pace. And the technological development which is taking place all around us has changed the method of war fighting. So unless we also move with time, we will be left behind. That is one of the basic reasons why our Indian Armed Forces is undertaking a lot of capability development and is undergoing transformational changes, not only in HR department but also in the procurement of weapons and equipments and the ammunition that is taking place. So there is a requirement of changes. We have to evolve with times so that we can keep pace with the changes that are happening around us. Otherwise, we will be left behind.
So currently, cyber security is increasingly important concern for militaries around the world. How did you prepare the Eastern Command to address cyber threats?
Yeah, if we look around in last couple of years, this has become one of the major threat, not only for the military, it has become a major threat even for the entire nation as well. We have seen the possible impact of cyber threat, which has manifested in some of the areas which we have seen in our country itself. So one of the first steps which we started was spreading awareness about the cyber warfare. I think that is the first step towards understanding what sort of threats can be posed in this domain. And then thereafter we have gone about taking and identifying various defensive measures which we need to take, like hardening of our system and separating our own network and all. So all these steps have been, defensive measures have been undertaken so that we are able to meet the possible cyber threat in future.
So India has a growing relationship with other countries in the Indo-Pacific region. How can the Indian Army contribute to regional security and stability?
See, we have good relationship with the armed forces of all the neighboring countries, and throughout the years, Indian armed forces have been carrying out joint exercises with armies of Myanmar, Bangladesh and Bhutan, particularly in counter-insurgency operations, also in HADR, that is the humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations. So we have some sort of cooperation and collaboration in undertaking these operations, and I think that is the way ahead for building up regional cooperation, and so that we ensure inclusive growth of all these countries.
So we would also like to know about your opinion on removal of Article 370.
Yeah, I think we see a lot of positive changes after Article 370 was removed as far as the internal situation in Jammu and Kashmir is concerned. There has been a lot of developmental activities that has been taking place. Some of the hindrances which were there because of this Article 370 has been taken care of now, and we see a lot of positive development. I think that's a good step which was the need of the hour.
And so what advice would you give to young people who are considering a career in the Indian Army, and what are the most important qualities for a military leader?
See, the only advice which I've been telling whenever I've been addressing young children or students wherever I have gone, is firstly they have to make up their mind. Firstly, they have to set their goal, and then thereafter they have to work hard. As far as joining armed forces is concerned, I have always held that thought that it's one of the best profession that one can choose, because we say that army is not a profession, it's a way of life. So it offers you not only a chance to give back to the nation, protecting your nation, it also offers a lot of opportunities for leading an adventurous life. And it's a very well settled job, I would say. And you can lead a very comfortable life. You can see around the world as well as the nation. You can contribute in a major way towards the nation building. As far as qualities of military leadership are concerned, there are certain basic, individual qualities like honesty, integrity. That apart, I think one of the basic quality that is required is to be able to take a decision. Decisiveness, I feel, is one of the important quality of leadership. In addition to being compassionate while dealing with situations, being analytical and logical, because you are faced with difficult situation under trying circumstances, where your decision, makes differentiate between life and death. It's a question of life and death, and your decisions will decide, basically. So there is a lot of such issues which we need to focus on.
And so, how do you think evolution of AI and robotics will impact the armed forces? Do you think majority of soldiers can be replaced by robots, or will it make their job easier?
You see, any sort of technological development which is taking place must be exploited. Our aim should be to exploit that technological development which has taken place to facilitate undertaking our task. The question of replacing the human by these things is a different thing altogether, and which has not been actually, which has been proved incorrect by the recent happenings in Russia-Ukraine war. We have seen that irrespective of what sort of technological development has taken place, ultimately it's the boots on ground which decides the victory. So the human factor cannot be replaced. But what can this technological development can provide is it can enable us to work in a far superior manner, and it can provide that enabling environment where you can achieve much more probably in a shorter time frame.
So, looking into the future, what are your biggest security challenges that India is likely to face?
See, there are mainly, we say there are two types of challenges. One is external challenges, and secondly is internal challenges, as also traditional challenges and non-traditional challenges. By external challenge, we talk of like border related conflicts, conflict with the neighboring countries. Though the people have been talking that a possibility of an all-out conflict with our neighbors, whether it is Pakistan or China, is quite low. But whatever is continuing now in what is called as grey zone domain, that is likely to continue. So that is a challenge which we need to, overcome, and which we need to address. And apart from that, we need to ensure peace and stability along the borders in our neighborhood. The next type of challenge is the instability in our neighboring countries, like Myanmar, which we have seen there undergoing an internal strife. Pakistan itself is having problems. Bhutan has got some border issues with China. So any instability in our neighborhood, in our immediate neighboring countries, is also a challenge, for our country, which can have spillover effect in and impact the peace and stability within our country. And apart from that, like non-traditional challenges, like we have talked about cyber warfare, there are other domains of warfare now: information warfare, perception management, legal warfare. So it has transgressed into different forms now. The conflict is not limited to only physical conflict. it has evolved into different forms now. So all sorts of challenges are also there. There are also transnational actors like you see that from Golden Triangle there are drug smuggling which are taking place along the north-eastern borders. Then we have gun running, weapon smuggling taking place. So all these also transnational actors also pose challenges to our integrity or our sovereignty. Within the country itself, there are internal strife which are going on, insurgency movements which are going on. That poses a challenge which need to be addressed. A lot of work has been done in last about 10-15 years. A lot of militant groups have come over ground. They have signed peace agreement and which are being honored by both sides. But whatever are the remnants, I think those issues needed to be resolved. And within the country, I think radicalization and communalism is an aspect, is a threat which can impact our country. We also need to address that problem as well.
And so, what are your thoughts on Agniveer?
You see, it's a transformational change which has taken place as far as human resources management of the armed forces is concerned. But having said that, when Agniveer was brought in, that process of recruitment, there were a number of deliberations which were held, and all the pros and cons of the concept or the system were debated, and it has started 2 years back, as you all are aware. The first group will complete their mandatory tenure of 4 years in another about couple of years, and thereafter that process of retention and exit will take place. So it's a transformational change as far as the human resource concept is concerned. We have to give it some time to stabilize, and it will be difficult to form an opinion about it at this stage, because it's still in the initial stage. Probably after 4 to 5 years, once the system stabilizes, then we'll be able to form an opinion and see if there are any mid-course correction required, or whether the system as envisaged will meet its goal.
And sir, recently there was a movie released on Sam Manik show. Do you think Indian movies are accurately representing the armed force?
I think the movies which have come about in recent times have been, the producers and directors and the story writers have been carrying out a lot of detailed research into the life of the armed forces. And of course, in the movies there has to be some dramatization, that is well understood. But I think people are making effort to portray the armed forces in the correct light. At least for Sam Bahadur, I can say for sure that I think they went into a lot of, they took a lot of trouble to get into a lot of details about life of Sam Bahadur, who is one of the iconic figure of the armed forces. They did a lot of research for that.
And lastly, sir, what are your hopes for the future of the Indian Army?
Indian Army, as it stands, is one of the best army in the entire world. And since personally I had the opportunity to operate in an international environment as part of United Nations Peacekeeping Force twice, I would like to say that Indian Army is held in very high esteem by the armies around the world. And time and again, the Indian Army has delivered whatever the nation had expected and contributed towards the nation building right from independence.
So that was all, ladies and gentlemen, for today. We thank you, sir, for your precious time. We hope to see you again. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.